Welcome to the Love Kanika podcast. My name is Kanika,
My name is Vanita.
and we are back for another show. We
Hi,
are,
everyone.
yeah, we're a bit early, just a couple of minutes early tonight because we have asked to join and be guest of another podcast panel at 8:30. So we wanted to make sure we were able to go ahead and get our show in so we can actually be there and show up on time for the commitment that we made. That's why we're a little early tonight, but nonetheless, we are here. Thank you for joining us. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Please, if you don't mind subscribing because this is a new podcast, kind of sort. It's been about a year now. And we're trying to grow the podcast so we would love all the support that you can provide for us. Also, hit the notification bell because that'll let you know when we do go live. We do this show every Wednesday around 7:30, usually live besides maybe during the holidays, but nonetheless, we are usually here every Wednesday night at 7:30. So we would love for you all to join us. So tonight's show, we're going to talk about this is going to be a continuation of a show we did last week called Why Some Men Can't or Don't Connect to Their Children. Um, I I wanted to do a continuation because I didn't touch on one of the biggest reasons. Or I didn't touch on it enough. I think I mentioned it or whatever last week, or Vanita mentioned it, one of us, but we didn't touch on this enough. And I wanted to have this discussion because this is something that I personally went through. Um, and this is something that a lot of women go through and a choice that a lot of women make and kind of end up, I wouldn't say some regretting it, but some women end up trying to figure out why they made a choice to have a baby by a man who never wanted it. And Vanita and I talk about this all the time. It's something that I see over and over again with the women in our community, us Black women.
Hmm.
It's been almost like a passed down cultural thing where we decide to have children by men who a lot of times they say they don't want them. Am I right, V?
Yes, yes.
They
And
say,
even if they don't just straight up say it, they insinuate it to some extent. So, but we don't seem to be really paying attention to what they're saying.
yeah, we don't seem to be getting this.
Hmm.
And let me start off by saying I'm not blaming women because it takes two to tango.
It
Men are
does.
just as responsible for this choice as women are. They're equally responsible in this choice. So this is not blaming women. The reason why I want to talk to women tonight is because we are the ones kind of left holding the bag, and we're the
Hmm.
ones who actually are suffering in this decision mentally,
Hmm.
emotionally, financially, and some even physically. So
Exactly.
some women, the stress of the burden of such a huge responsibility is taking a toll on us physically. And to be honest, this is the source of the weight issue in the female Black community.
It most definitely is.
This is the source of it. It's the
Yep.
stress and strain of having to take care of almost everything by yourself, including the children.
Hmm.
So I want to kind of to touch on this tonight, and I'm going to be sensitive because again I was in this situation many years ago where I in my early 20s, I think maybe 23 or 24, I can't remember. I was dating this guy. He was 27 at the time, and it wasn't serious, but we were dating.
Hmm.
Nonetheless, I ended up getting pregnant. And I remember thinking to myself, I want to keep this baby, right?
That's deep.
I'm gonna keep it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I told him about it, he wasn't thrilled about it at all. He had, a matter of fact, he was like, we're too young. He was like, first of all, we're too young for this. This is
Mm-hmm.
going to mess up our lives. We have our whole lives ahead of us. He was like, if you have this child, I'm gonna be there for my child, which I knew he was, because that's just the type of
The
man.
character.
Yeah, I knew
Mm-hmm.
that. There wasn't a part, but it was this part that really I had to stop and think about. He said to me, he said, if you have this child, just know we're not gonna be together. I'm gonna be there for my child, and that's about it. Don't expect no kind of relationship or nothing like that. And I remember kind of being a little bit stunned by that, and thinking to myself, self, do you really want to be his baby mama? Like, I
Mm.
really had to search myself for real and be honest with myself about why, the real reason why I was wanting to keep this baby, right?
And your conclusion was.
And I looked deep and I said to myself,
Mm-hmm.
the truth of the matter is I
Okay.
really wanted him. It
That's
wasn't
deep.
it wasn't the baby that I really wanted. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted the baby because the baby was connected to him,
To him.
right?
Yes.
So, although I did have feelings for him, something inside of me was smart enough to know that if you have this baby, you're gonna pretty much be on your. I mean, he's gonna be for the baby, but you pretty much gonna be on your own. Not only are you gonna be on your own, he's gonna be a little bit resentful for you. So, do you really want to be a mother?
Well, he pretty much told you he was going to be there for the kid, but he wasn't. It wasn't going to be no relationship. So he told you what it was,
He told
which
me what it was.
that's big because a lot of men don't break it down like that. Like he broke it all the way down.
He told me the truth, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And men do tell us the truth, or they do say these things to us, and a
certain
lot,
extent in a roundabout type of way. A
yeah,
lot of times.
they do. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times I don't know if we don't believe them. We think they're going to change their mind. I don't know really what they're going through. I think a part of us believes that, there's no way if I have a baby, he's not going to be there for his child. And some men, that's true. They do step up and they're there for their kid. But the problem is the majority of the work is going to be on you.
Even if they do step up with the kid, you still have to ask yourself, were you having the kid on the strength of wanting a child or wanting to be with him? Because I want to believe that if you really wanted him and you chose to have the child, and yes, he is there taking care of the child, but has a whole nother wife, are you really good with that?
That's the $1 million question. I wanted to talk about this because it's about time that we as women start being honest with ourselves about the real reason, the root of why we're making these decisions. And like I said, a lot of this mentality of we having babies by any means necessary under any circumstances, it's a cultural
Hmm.
thing. This is a
It
cultural.
is. You're absolutely right.
It's cultural programming. That
Hmm.
there's the societal programming where women are programmed to believe that you got to be a mother, you got to have kids. That's just your lot in life. You have a uterus, you have an ovaries, you got to have children. But then there's the cultural programming in our community, this community, where you don't even have to have a father to want to be involved. You just have the child because culturally we know that our mother, our grandmother,
Grandmothers,
our cousins, our
hmm
sisters, the women,
aunties.
aunties are going to help take care of the children
That's true.
So the man, whether he's there or not, then the kids are going to be taken care of. But what's happening is just because we're doing our best to raise these children, they are still longing for their father.
They are. They
They
are
need
very much so.
a lot of the what reason the community looks the way that it looks is because we're having children by men who don't want to be parents.
Hmm.
They don't want to parent, right? And so you're left trying to figure this out, trying to play the role of mother and father,
Hmm.
doing the best you possibly can. But there's a part of, particularly, definitely boys, girls too, but definitely boys, that they need the discipline and the validation from a man, from their
Male.
father.
They really do.
And that's why you see the community looking the way that it does, is because it's just generations, and we continue to make the same decision instead of just stopping, saying, okay, ladies, this ain't quite working, not for the betterment of you as the woman, as the mother, not for the child or the man, for us to continue to just have babies under any circumstances. Number one, the men don't want it. Number two, they don't deserve it.
I
They
agree with
don't
that.
deserve you going through 9 months of pregnancy, damn near dying, because a lot of women die on giving birth. That's a
That's true.
they don't think it's the closest thing to death. Particularly, a lot of black women, we get preeclampsia during pregnancy. So you're risking your life to birth a child from a man that's not even worthy of it, right? And again, a lot of this is your cultural programming. That's why, like I've said on so many shows before, you gotta be aware of the programs that are subconsciously locked into the back of your mind, just based on what you see around you, based on the society, based on your race, based on your culture, based on the media. Because a lot of times those decisions that you're gonna make based on these things, they're not gonna be in your favor. It don't do you know, it's not, it doesn't fare well for any of us, not you, not the man,
Not
not
the
the baby,
child.
not the
Nobody.
community,
Exactly.
nobody, for us to continue this. Now if you want to be a mother, I understand some women just want to be mothers, and that's fine.
And I was going to say, yes, that's okay. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. But in wanting to be a mother, know that the responsibility is going to lie on your head. Now, like she said, both of you guys chose to be in it, having sex. So if you choose to put him on child support, okay. But begging and pleading for him to be in that child's life, he told you he didn't want it. So why do you put so much stress on yourself and try to force him to be there for a child that he told you he didn't want? And on top of that, do you really want a man or anybody, man, woman, it doesn't matter, to be in your child's life and they don't even want to? What type of energy do you think they're giving that child?
you don't want nobody to be around your child underlyingly resentfully.
Resentful.
You know, I
Exactly.
mean, you want a father who wants to be, he wants to be a parent. And
That way.
unfortunately, in this community, unfortunately, black women, we're just born into a community where family and that type of structure has been lost for so many generations now. Most men don't even know what that looked like. A lot of men, they try to, they step
They
up and do
try to.
co-parents another every
Yes,
other weekend. But really, really wanting the father to be there, to be present, to be invested emotionally and mentally, spiritually and financially with the child, it's a gamble in this community, man. It's a gamble.
it is.
So you really need to think long and hard. And this is would be my suggestion, to be completely transparent. If you want to do it, I would suggest going outside of the culture to do it. I would suggest going to a culture where it's more rooted in family. Whether it's in a African culture or Indian or whoever. if you fare a better chance of having a dedicated father that's going to be in the house, in the home, because I believe they need to be in the house. I believe that the father needs to be in the home with the child. It needs to be a relationship, a committed and dedicated two parent home in the house. Not saying you can't raise a child. We see it all day, but I think the child will fare well if they have both the masculine and feminine energy in the home. They're seeing both sides of it. But I think you'd fare better
And
trying.
still in that, know that the bulk of the work is still on you. So I
It,
just want you guys to be mindful of
yeah,
that, even when they're physically in the house. Because you can talk to many women. Look online. Online tells you a lot. There's other cultures of women that are also saying, yes, he's here, but the burden, maybe not burden for some, but the
yeah,
work is still on you.
yeah. This and it's a job. It's a theory. I think that's another thing when we don't think about as we decide to become mothers. We're kind of in the fantasy of a cute baby. And we're gonna kiss it and all of this, but they don't. They're not babies for long. They become 8 year olds and 9 year olds who got homework, all this stuff to do. You got to help
Mhm.
them. It's a round the clock job that you never get off and don't get paid for. And whether he step up or not, it's on you. That is a lot to carry.
It is.
It's a lot to carry. And most of black women, we're carrying it alone. And sometimes we do it one, two, three, and four times over again.
Yes.
That you can't, you're only one you. It's only 24 hours in a day. You're trying to take on all of this burden by yourself. We need to start learning. Now I can see one child. I can see you doing it one time. You don't know, or you were young, because your mother didn't, one didn't keep it real with you in the situation, but sometimes we do this over and over thinking that we chose the wrong man.
Yes.
No,
I hear that a
we,
lot.
women, we swear, let me do it again. You just the wrong man. Chasing a fairy tale. No, most men don't want a parent. It ain't the man, the male species don't want to really do the work of parenting. They don't want to do it. They
Most men plug in when it comes to sports.
That's what they want to do. They want to take him, they want to be the football coach or the baseball
Yes.
coach. That's what they want to do.
Yes.
They don't want
That's
to do nothing else. So when you get in it, you're kind of shocked that everything is on you. But ladies, wake up. It's always been this way. I'm always so shocked when women say, I can't believe he ain't helping. Well, did your daddy help? Did your uncles help? Look, it's almost like we be blinded to the reality that's right in front of us. We just blind ourselves to it. And it's time that we take the blinders off and look at it for what it is so that making decisions that are not even in our best interest. It's
hmm
time for us to take the blinders off. That's what we're talking. That's why this podcast is existing, because it's time for us to talk some heavy, ugly, deep truths about what's really going on. Right? I had to look at that. I said, do I really want this baby or do I want him? I wanted him. I wanted him. So I had to make a decision for my life because I knew I was at a crossroads, right?
That's it.
That was going to make a decision that was going to affect my life. Would have went. I would even probably be sitting right here, right now, had I decided to have that child. I wouldn't even be sitting right here right now.
I'm sure.
My life would look completely different than it
It
does
most definitely
today.
would. It definitely would.
I wouldn't have been able to pour into myself to evolve and grow spiritually
hmm
like I have to spend so much time alone to where I could hear from God and hear my divine purpose. Everything would have been different because I would have had to be a mommy.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening to a lot of women. You can't grow and evolve because you don't have a lot of time to really do nothing but, work and take care of your children. Right?
hmm
So a lot of us, we miss our callings, we miss our purpose, we don't pursue our passions because you just don't have the time and energy because we decided to bring these kids here without no help. We can't force these men to be in these children's life. You can't force them. They're
You wouldn't
speaking.
want to. That just You wouldn't want to force
They're
anybody to do
speaking
that.
loud and clear to
Yes.
us. They don't want them. They don't want them. It's not fair to these children. We're bringing them here without no daddy that want to be a part of their lives. It's
Hmm.
not fair to them, man. It's time for us to make better decisions. We can protect ourselves. What is it about 50? I don't know. Let me see. I know it's a lot of birth
Birth
control.
control, it's a ton of it out there.
Because
It's a
I hear a
ton.
lot. This is another thing I hear a lot of black women say. Well, birth control, it hurts your body. All of them? Diaphragms, pills, condoms, implant, injection, a patch, female condoms, IUD, uh,
Morning after pills.
the ring, nothing works, lady.
Hmm.
Come on. Because that ain't it. That's not it.
It's just an excuse.
What it is low key. You want to be tied to these men, and I
Exactly.
know it because I've seen too many people around me do it. I even was about to do it. Just something clicked in and said, don't go down that street. That's a dead end, Kanik. I was just honest about it. Most women are honest about it. And they said, well, no, I just wanted my baby. No, you wanted him. Because if you didn't want him, when you became a mother, you wouldn't be some kind of way about it. So bitter
You
about
wouldn't
it.
even care what the heck he does at all. If you really wanted that kid, you could give a crap less.
Yeah, he came along with the kid. It ain't just the kid. You want
Yes.
him too.
Yes.
And that's where things go awry. We need to start being honest about this. Because in our conditioning, you see that that's basically all the attachment you're gonna get from black men. You don't see marriage, you don't see it. And you don't see it because we don't require it. We give them everything: kids, shelter, access to sex. We cook for them. We do anything for the bare minimum. And then be mad at them. Listen, if you didn't have to go to work and they'll still cut you a check when you take it,
All day? Hell yeah.
yeah, they're just going to work. They just get paid without having to
Yes.
go to work. You can't get mad at that. That's our
You
fault.
just cannot. Yep.
That's our fault. And a lot of that comes from just seeing all the women around you accept. It's a cultural thing. You just are
Accepting it.
conditioned to accept less. That's
No
just how
boundaries.
no boundaries, no expectations, low
Nope.
standards.
Yes.
Listen, I've done it.
Yes.
It's taken me years to grow to a place where I have certain standards for myself and the men who will be in my life. It's been a learning and an evolving and a healing process for me. I don't want to do the same lessons over and over and over and over again. I want to grow and evolve so that I can bring in the people and the love that I deserve, people who deserve to be a part of my life.
Mm.
The men who deserve to they've earned a spot here. Not just because I'm lonely and I want somebody to be in here to distract me from these kids. Because that's what a lot of women do. And I get it. I'm not a
Yeah.
mom, never been a mother, but I have seen a bunch of mothers around me, and I see the struggle of it, the loneliness of it, the sadness of it, the depression of it that a lot of women never even talk about. And I get it because you don't want to believe that the source of all of this is you being a single mom, but it is. That's the truth of the matter. That don't mean you don't love your children. That don't
Exactly.
mean that. But let's be honest, it's the stress of it all. And then on top of that, which this is the kicker for me, you in a community that's gonna blame you for making the
That
choice.
way. Yep. That's the
You in
crazy
a
thing.
community that says you are the reason for the downfall of the community.
Yep.
You having these children, so you're having kids by the community of men who blaming you for the. Listen, man.
Hmm.
Like seriously, it's a lose-lose.
I was about to say there's no win. Do you not see that? There's no win with them, period, point blank. They blame you for everything. Do you not see that?
They
That's
blame
what
you
you
for
want to be with?
everything. They take zero
Count
accountability.
zero. Zero. They never say it's their
That's
fault.
why I don't get that when they crying and whining about child support. Please, you got off scotch free, really? You get to cut a check and not have to do no work, really? You winning, sir. You complaining about $188 a month? Men are delusional. These be your baby daddies. They're delusional. These who y'all be reproducing with. They're delusional. Protect yourself, man. Protect yourself. You're not in a culture that protects the women, unfortunately. You're in a culture that only cares about the men. Unfortunately. No one cares about the men. That's why they skirt accountability. That's why. Because they can. Because the culture that we're in only cares about the well-being of them. Unfortunately. So you gotta look out for yourself. You gotta look out for yourself and make decisions that are best for you. Not because you black, not because
No.
you're black, but because it's your best interest. Because trust and believe, they ain't think because if they cared about women, black women, it wouldn't be so many single mothers. It wouldn't be so many women doing it by themselves.
And then you can't expect them to care about Black women because look how they treat one another. Pay
You need to
attention to that.
you need to look no further, man. They men the men in our community are dealing with deep, deep low self-worth issues,
Hmm.
deep traumas, right? Generations of fatherlessness, and then they have no identity because they've been plucked from the homeland into a matrix where the pedestal of what manhood is supposed to be, power, influence, anything of the ego. You know, men they their whole life revolves around their ego. They don't even do anything to nurture their spirit, and that's just all men. That ain't just our, it's all men.
Yeah.
The men who are supposed to be the top of the top don't even look like them. Imagine what kind of mind fuck that is. You pluck from your homeland to where all the men look like you, and there's a culture there, but here they don't look like you, but they're saying this is a standard that you'll never live up to because you ain't the right color. So now they're trying to figure themselves out in a matrix where they have no identity. They don't know where they belong. On top of no fathers to validate them, they literally just spinning around out here, just doing and a lot of the pain that they don't acknowledge or deal with comes out in relationships,
Delicious.
sex,
Yep.
sex. That's how they try to heal sex. And you end up in their hurricane. You thinking you
Yep.
in love. You think you can have a relationship. That's what you think. No, no. They're in it for the
That
moment.
and fighting one another.
They're in it for the moment.
Mm-mm.
They're in it for the moment. They got a lot of deep healing that they have to do collectively before they could ever really be there for you. And it's unfortunate because they're kind of put into this too. They didn't really ask to be born into this, and their egos are shielding them from healing. They don't want to. They don't want to.
And and what she's speaking of is the past. We can stop this moving forward.
We can. They
We
can.
can
They can
stop this
turn this
having,
around.
yeah,
Men,
this can
they
be
can
turned
turn it
around.
around. Yeah, they don't want to though, because in order to turn it around, they're going to have to acknowledge and get control of their ego.
Yes.
They're going to have to They're going to have to have ego deaths, which means they're going to have to acknowledge the souls of themselves, which in turn they're going to have to acknowledge their feelings because the soul is connected to your feelings, right?
Which they don't work well with at all.
They don't want to do that. They just
No.
not there yet. And like I said last week, it ain't gonna be in this lifetime. It ain't gonna be in this lifetime. I think we'll see a little bit of progress since we're in the age of Aquarius because the universe is gonna start forcing their hand a little bit. But to see a complete turnaround, it's gonna take some time. So in the midst of this storm that you're kind of in with the men who are just all over the map, protect yourself. or date out. If you want a stable, if you want a, because I know that's what you're trying to do. I get it. You want a stable family. That's natural. I get it. You're gonna have to go where the men value that, where that's important, where that's ingrained in their mind.
They don't know anything else.
They're
Their
socialized.
fathers. Yeah,
Yeah,
their fathers, their uncles, their grandfathers, they're all that way.
it's socialized in them. You're gonna have to
Hmm.
go to where it's socialized because it's not socialized in American Black. It's just not. And they're not really trying to make a change because they don't see it necessary because they're winning. There's no reason to change because there's always gonna be one of us out there being their new mama and their baby mama. So there's
Yep.
nothing to change.
The combination of the two.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to change. So either don't do it, don't put yourself in a trick bag, or go to a culture where family is important. Fatherhood is rooted in them. That cultural matrix is a mug. It's real. That's why you see so much single motherhood. It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural matrix. Not a good one, but nonetheless, it's a cultural matrix that you probably got caught up in. And you didn't even realize it because everybody around you was making this decision. So you just did it too,
I was
right?
about to say you
Norm.
thought it was right. Yeah, you
Yeah,
thought
it's
it
just
was
the
normal.
norm. It's the
Hmm.
norm. It's the norm. This black matrix that we're in, it's just got some things in it that you've got to be conscious of. Because it's not good, it's not healthy, it's not conducive to your growth, to your mental and emotional well-being. And nobody's gonna look out for you but you. That's
Yes.
why we have this show, because nobody's gonna look out for you in this community but you. You only got you, unfortunately, and maybe your family, the men in your family. The outside of that, you pretty much on your own. You don't have the insulation or protection of your male group that other groups of women have. You don't have that. You don't have that because
And
of the
again, it's not all black men.
yeah.
It's
It's
just
not
not
all. Yeah,
the
it's not all.
majority.
It's
It's
not all.
not
There
the
are some
majority,
unicorns
unfortunately.
amongst them. Yeah, there is some
Yeah,
unicorns amongst them. It
it
is.
is. It's some sprinkles in there.
Yeah,
Some
it's some
sprinkles.
sprinkles. It's definitely some sprinkles, but the majority, this is their mentality because that's how they're socialized.
Yes.
And they don't see a reason to make a change or to do any type of healing internal work. So they just keep down the same road that they're on. It's easier,
Mhm.
it's safer, they don't have to deal with emotion, they don't have to deal with the pain, they don't have to deal with whatever they're feeling about having a daddy who wasn't there or who was halfway in and halfway out. Whatever the situation may be, they don't have to deal with any of that if they just kind of keep on the same road. That's why you got to protect yourself, protect your womb, protect your mind, protect your spirit.
It's a
This
fight to
it is
evolve up, and they don't want the fight. They barely want to even go make the money that they claim they want so bad. So
what you mean, me.
they don't fight for more. They don't even believe they deserve more. So you got to believe that you deserve to be in a better space, that your father not being there does not mean that you the worst of the worst and want to evolve up. They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Shit, like I said, they don't even want to fight to try to make more money that they really, really want. Not really.
Otto said, which Otto is rather put that on the screen. Otto says, Tyler Durden says, we're a generation of men raised by women. I'm wondering if another woman is really the answer we need. A generation of men raised by women. That's like, can you really be
So
mad
it's
at
no,
them?
exactly, it's no male figures around.
They kind
There's
of
no
left to figure it
masculine
out
there. It's nothing but feminine energy there. There's no masculine
all
energy that's
around.
there.
So can we really be mad at them?
Not really.
They have
You
no man
can't.
to really teach them anything.
Just
And
listen to
we
what they're
keep,
saying. They tell you where they are.
yeah, we keep repeating the cycle. We can let we give the gift of life, lady, so we can stop this.
Exactly.
We have the kids.
Exactly.
We can turn this around. We don't have to just keep on doing the same thing, getting the same result.
Hmm.
Cause then we raise these men up without no daddies and we complain about them. Well, they ain't nobody
Exactly.
to teach them. They ain't no daddy neither,
That way.
right?
Yep.
I think a lot of men don't even feel like they can be daddies. They feel like they're worthy. They feel like they don't have the money,
I don't think they feel like they know what to do really.
what to
It,
do.
you
There's no
really don't.
challenge.
Yeah, there's no kind of template. There's no direction, no real guidance, you know.
They're kind of wading in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of wading in the water, you know? It's such an important decision, ladies. It's such an important decision. And it's not one that we need to keep on making all willy-nilly to protect your womb. There's too many
Yes.
ways for us not to get pregnant. Because he gonna pay child support, but you're gonna be left holding the. That's why we're talking mostly to women. It's not that we letting them off the hook. It's gonna be on you.
At the end of
You
the day.
won't suffer. You're gonna be the one at the hospital, the baby at the hospital. You're the one up at night if the baby gets sick. It's gonna be you. You're the one
You
who
the
not
one doing that homework.
homework.
You
You're the
doing
one
that
who's not
homework.
gonna be able to date. You're the one who the
Yes.
community gonna be saying that you're the reason why the community looked away. It's gonna be everything's gonna be on you.
Exactly. Exactly. You the
While
first
he
contact at school when he's acting crazy at school. You
while
are.
he rides off into the sunset with the next bitch. Cause that's what they do
Pretty much.
every single time. And you're kind of left mad and bitter and angry. Just don't put yourself in that situation.
Exactly. Not able to date because most guys are not pulling in other people's kids. They don't want to do. They didn't want their own.
They just didn't. It, honestly, ladies, buckle up because this is about to hurt. Okay? Men don't really like children to be around. And I know that is harsh. It's harsh. It's a harsh thing for me to say. But that's the truth. Men don't really want children around because they get in the way of what men are trying to do, right? Men be trying to spend time with you, they trying to have sex with you, whatever they're
Mhm.
trying to do, and kids get in the. That's why that's the reason. That's the real reason why men be saying they don't want to date single mothers because the child is getting in the way of what they're trying to do. Their agenda,
Yeah, and again,
even
I think
the
I know
kids.
I have said this in previous shows. Men are almost like kids themselves. You know how kids they beg for your attention nonstop, especially
Yes.
when they in elementary school. They mom, 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 mom. Men are similar to that. They want your attention, so the kids are taking away from their attention.
Which is why so many relationships end when the baby gets here. Men
Yes,
can't navigate that. They can't navigate that type of change. They can't navigate now. There's not as much fun. There's not as much
yes.
sex. You know that your attention has to go the majority of the time to the baby. They can't navigate that. So that's
Real
another.
talk, kids are almost like a competition to them, and they know they're gonna lose in it. They don't like losing.
They don't want to. They don't want to be competing for your attention. Again,
They
that's why
don't.
so many relationships will end when you have this baby. Don't y'all see a pattern? That's why they don't want to be about. They don't want to be around it. They don't want to be bothered. They don't want to hear the crying. They don't hear. They don't
Yes.
want none of it. They don't want it, but they're not going to tell you that because it sounds so fucked up.
Bad. Yes.
They're not going to
Yes.
say this, but they showing y'all. They showing you every day.
That
I'm
way.
just telling you the truth, a
Hmm.
harsh, ugly truth. They don't want to be around these children. Not even they love them, their own kids, but they bringing them back to you, or they gonna take them to their mama. It's a reason for that. They gonna only do it so much, and then it's back to you or to their mama, their sister. It ain't gonna be them though. They won't do it, and I know that like damn, I get it. I feel the same way,
It's
but
the
it is
truth.
what it is. It is what it is. And then again, you're left holding the bag. You're
Mhm.
holding the bag of everything. Make a decision that's going to be best for you, man. Smart decisions.
Yes.
Smart decisions, not decisions because your culture does it or people around you, your sister, your auntie. No. Because once the baby here, it's here. It's you. And 20
Even
years
down to grandparents, because grandparents are quick to say, "When are you gonna get me a grandchild?" You do realize that once that child comes, it's still on you.
it's
They'll
still
take them for
you.
maybe a week or two, but the majority of it is on you. So be
Yeah,
mindful of that.
yeah. Be
Don't have
mindful.
kids just because your mother has said, "Well, I want a grandbaby. I want
That's
a
a big one.
grandbaby."
That's a big one. That's a big one. Don't let your parents pressure you or your family. My family used to try to put the pressure on me. Every
What they
time
say?
I saw them, when you gonna have kids? Ain't said not a damn thing about a husband. They just don't know how I'm gonna have some kids. Cause it's so ingrained in the mind of the black community. They don't even think that that's necessary. Cause they're like, well, we'll help you.
Hmm.
We'll help raise you. No. I want my child to have a father in the home. No, that's not for me. I'm not just gonna have kids all willy nilly. And then I ended up having a partial hysterectomy. I can't have. Thank God. I have fibroids. Thank the Lord. You took me out the game. I got to worry about it now. Whew. Every time I say I had a hysterectomy, people are like,
I'm sorry. What you
"God."
sorry for?
I'm like, that's the best thing that ever could have fucking happened to me. What are you sorry for?
That's the first thing they say.
That's
I'm
the
sorry
best
you had to
thing
do
that
that.
ever happened to me. Don't be sorry.
It's so
Jeez.
crazy because they don't even ever think in their mind that you could have possibly done it purposefully.
They again, because it's so embedded in this culture, you just have children. That's what you do. It don't matter what the circumstances. That's why they could never think that you don't want them.
Hmm.
It, every time I say it, people are astonished. Every time I say, well, I want to get it, like, you don't? I'm like, no. They're like, why? I said, why should I? And it's
And they give you no answer.
crickets.
Or
Give me
don't
one
you
more
want the
shit.
unconditional quote unquote love?
That's what they say.
Okay.
That's what they say. You don't want unconditional love? Well, it clearly ain't that great because y'all chase relationships all from sun up to sundown. So the
Oh
love
my
is more.
God. You pregnant for 9 months, the child pops out of you, and by the first year of that child, you're back off finding another dude. So is it really unconditional love? It's the most insane thing ever.
I'm like, that can't, the love that y'all claiming you getting can't be all that because y'all chasing relationships from sun to sun. You need to look no further than Kendra G show. If you tune in Kendra G show,
Sheesh.
girls, the baby be damn near fresh out the womb.
Yep.
And they be on there looking for another man.
I
I'm
think
like,
I've heard on her show the youngest was probably a year. Have you heard younger than a year? I don't
oh
think I've
yeah,
heard younger
eight,
than a
9
year.
months. Eight,
Oh,
nine
you
months.
have?
No,
Okay.
for sure. They be fresh out the womb. They be on there looking for another man. Trying to fill a void that the baby didn't feel. So that unconditional
Hmm.
love is just not true.
And it
It's
don't be
not.
the first baby. It be baby
No.
number 2, 3, 4, 5.
They chasing a void, trying to fill a void. And unfortunately, women, black women, we're not taught nothing else to do. Nobody teaches us to get closer to God, to figure out who we are, to figure out our purpose and our passion. No one teaches us that. The only thing we see is have children, have kids, breed.
Hmm.
That's all we know. So unfortunately,
No boundaries, no standards for yourself, no
none,
guidelines for yourself, nothing.
nothing is kind of pushed on us. That's why it's so important to become conscious of your cultural programming. Because
Hmm.
sometimes by the time we realize it's already done.
Yeah.
Most
A
times
lot of the times. Yeah.
it's already done. Can't go back. And a lot of women,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of women. If you go on YouTube or TikTok, it's a lot of women talk about they regret motherhood. It's a lot. Or if they knew then what they know now, there's no ain't no way It's so many. So let's jump in front of that so many women won't have to live with regret because they just wasn't thinking, didn't know no better, whatever the situation may be. Let's jump ahead of it. That's why we're having these conversations.
Be
Real
honest with your daughters. Be honest with your nieces and nephews.
yes.
Be honest with them.
It's time for us Black women to start being honest with the generations behind us, so they won't walk these same roads. We're not doing them no justice by not telling them the truth. It's not fair.
Exactly.
We should want better for them.
Exactly.
We should want better for them. They don't have to walk the hard road. We just be honest, brutally honest with them. It's more to life than having children. Yeah, a lot of people, so many talents and passions and God-given purposes that lives go unlived because women are just having children. You can't do it. You don't have the time or the energy, the mental capacity to do it. And then you be in the thing, you just struggling to stay afloat mentally and emotionally. Struggling to stay afloat because you're doing it by yourself.
That way.
This is a critical decision. That's why we talk about it so much, because this decision has affected so many women in a negative way. They're not going to say that because it's kind of taboo.
The perception that you're saying something bad about the child when you're really not. You're speaking on the experience, not the human being.
Motherhood. It is not a good experience. It's not. Yes. It's too much for one person to carry. It's too much. Too much. It's too much. That's why, again, think long and hard. Protect your womb, ladies. Birth control, do something to protect yourself, particularly if you're going to have sex, because whether he step up or not, it's going to be on you. Your mommy. You're going to be there. You're going to have to be there.
Yes.
You're going to be left with the bag. That's why we're stressing to protect yourself. Protect yourself. Don't let these men get you caught up in a trick bag that they're going to run from. You see it. You see it all around you. You see it. Take the blinders off. It's time to take the blinders off, ladies. Let's elevate. Let's heal. Let's become the best versions of ourselves.
Yes.
For ourselves and for our children and grandkids and nieces and nephews. Let's become the best versions of ourselves. And we do that by being honest, brutally honest, because the truth shall set you free. Always does. Always will. And that's what we're going to do on this podcast. We're going to talk about uncomfortable truths. I had to tell myself something. I had to say to myself, if you had this baby, you on your own. He don't want it. He don't want you or that baby. That's what I said to myself. You know he don't want you or that baby. He didn't. And he told me. And I believed him. Because I didn't want to be a mother. I wanted him. Just like you wanted him. You're going to say you don't. You do. And you know how I know you did? Because you got naked and you bent over for him. That's how I know you wanted him. You definitely wanted him. Your ego is probably, no. Let's be honest, ladies, with ourselves, so that we can make better decisions going forward. That's all we're saying. I have to make better decisions going forward. I be honest with myself. Ugly truth. Sometimes I'll tell myself, now, you know damn well that's not the reason you. Wait, why are you really doing this? I have to be honest with myself. Vanita, I'm sure you not had to be honest with yourself about some stuff?
Many
times. Uncomfortable stuff, right?
Many times, and still do to this day.
Yeah, because you get to the truth, you looking at the real reason why you're about to make this decision that might not be in your favor or best interest.
Exactly.
That's all we're saying. Exactly. And as time goes on, we're also going to talk more about healing and how to heal and what we've done to heal and all of those things. We'll talk about all of that. how we got
Yes.
here, how we're continuing to grow and heal as women and evolve and become the best versions of ourselves and live our
Hmm.
best life and all of that and be happy, full of joy. And joy does not come, it's not connected to a man, right? You can be joyful with a man, but joy comes from you. You already got to be
Yeah.
there when
You
he
got to
gets there.
find it ahead of time. What
You
do you
can't
like to do?
bring it to you. You got to
Hmm.
already have it inside,
Yes.
right? It's an internal thing. It's not an external
Hmm.
thing. And as women, we're taught to look for happiness in relationships and in men. And then we stay on like these hamsters on the wheel trying to find her. Okay, not him. Okay, that didn't work. Can I go to another one? Okay, not him. That didn't work. This, and then babies are being born on this wheel that we're just spinning on, not wondering why we're not getting anywhere because it's an internal thing. That's a self thing. That's not a relationship thing. That's not a man thing. And my prayer is that this podcast get some of y'all off the hamster wheel. Because when you
Exactly.
start focusing on yourself and self-love that comes from here and healing, then you can start creating the life outside of you that you want to see show up. It's inside out, not outside in, right? But you're taught outside in. I get it. I didn't know either until God started showing me early.
Well,
God,
inside out does not make money, so that's why we're not taught it.
exactly. It's all about money. God says, "Oh, you think you finna run like in my 20s, early 20s?" God said, "Oh, you think you finna run from relationship to relationship? That's what you think you're gonna do? I'm gonna block all that shit. God, shut me down. Shut it. Every door, shut it, shut it, shut it, shut it." God said, "No, you're gonna spend time with me and you're gonna heal, Sister Cake, little mama. I'm gonna block every man you try to be with. From now, I'm gonna block it. So you can finally break down and say, what is it about me that I keep creating the same experience over and over again?" I had to heal. I had to heal. And that's what we're going to talk about on this show: healing and growing and evolving and being better women and happier women and more joyful women, right? It's a process.
Yes.
It's an ongoing process, but we can at least start the process, right? So you can start
Hmm.
creating the life you want to see outside the love and the relationships and everything that we all desire, as women, as women, as humans. So, with that being said, do you have anything else, V?
No, I think we summed it up on this one.
I think we did. I think we did. We're gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and start wrapping up because we are guests on another podcast that starts in about 15 or so minutes. So I want to make sure
Hmm.
we're on time for that. But I want to thank each and every last one of you for again all the support, all the love, um,
Yes.
tuning in, all the playbacks. A lot of people watch this show on a playback, and I really appreciate y'all. I love y'all
Yeah.
for the support. Definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like the video. Again, we're growing the show, and it's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to share, a lot of my own growth, a lot of my own pain and tears and struggles. And I hope, I can share these things because I don't want you to have to walk the hard road that I had to walk. And if I can deter you and you can learn from me, then all of it was worth it to me. All of it. Every single tear that I cried. And that's the purpose. And again, and I think sometimes women think I'm hard. I'm not hard on you. It's just time for us to wake up. It's just time for us to wake up so that we can start healing. Because a lot of women are in pain. I'm lucky, I'm blessed to have a lot of girlfriends and talk to a lot of women. And it's a lot of women that are hurting internally and don't really know what to do about it or where to go. So hopefully this podcast can help in that healing process, in that growing process that we're all going to do together collectively. Once again,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be back on next Wednesday at 7:30. Same time,
Yes.
same place. Anything else, Steve?
No. You
All
guys
right.
have a wonderful night.
Huh?
I said they have a wonderful
Yeah,
night.
have a wonderful night. And we're gonna get ready for our next show. I don't have a link for it. I would tell you guys to tune in and where it's gonna be, but I don't have a link for it. Do you know the name?
Yeah. I don't remember the name of
I don't know the name of it, the podcast, but
the
nonetheless,
podcast
I
itself.
probably share it here so you guys can see it. Um, see it. If he lets me, maybe download it, upload it, so that you can see. It's a man podcast that we're being guest on, so this should be
Yeah.
interesting. All right, now have a good night, and hold on, and we will talk to you next week. Bye, y'all.
All right. Good night.